Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our RepStack podcast. Today, I'm your host. Usually, of course, everybody here is more familiar with my older brother, our CEO, Azhar. He's off, so I'm lucky to take over his shoes and meet Janusz Stabik. He is our coach. He is our guest today on RepStack podcast. He's owner of Grow Your Agency, Grow Your Digital Agency. He's a coach in digital marketing agency world, has been working since 2018. Welcome to our show, Janusz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited and I'm delighted to be here.
All right. All right. So really quickly, we're going to start off with a little of background, digital marketing agency, how digital marketing agency and why digital marketing agency, what got into you and what started you as a coach?
So I don't know anything different. I went to university. Straight out of university, I worked in agencies through and through. I think the only other job actually I had was working as a chef in the kitchen. So I worked within agencies. I worked my way up through agencies. I started my own agency. I exited that agency. I started working with other agencies as a non-exec director and advisor. Built up my own consulting firm that was acquired. So it's agencies through and through at breadth and at depth. My background is development. I was a developer by trade. My agency was a development agency, and I just love it. I love the people. I love the energy. I love the domain, the talk. I like going to the events. I think the cliche is if you find a job that you enjoy, then you never work a day in your life, and it feels like that. I love the place. I love helping people. Our clients say thank you at the end of the day.
Yeah. I love it. So as you were saying it, that day in the job never worked. Something. I was just writing against your name. Loves his job. That is so awesome, and that also I could relate so much because few months back, I was getting off at 4:30 after 6-7 hours of calls.
Yeah.
And my wife, and I was like, kind of still had spring in my feet. She's like, well, you look pretty sharp, because you were on calls after calls. I don't even have lunch breaks. I eat on calls. I should, cut it down. But so I told her, no, I'm really so happy. I'm enjoying work. She's like, oh, maybe that means that you have made it. I'm like, well, I've never thought about it that way. But that is, I guess, the definition that you just said, that if you love your job, are you really working?
Absolutely, and it's sadly, I think one of the challenges that our clients, agency owners, can face is, I don't know if you've ever read the book The E-Myth, which is around this myth that we have before we start a business that the promised land of running your own business is freedom. It's financial freedom and time freedom, and the reality is you start a business because you're good at doing a thing, and then you have a team and you have tax to pay and you have process and all this kind of stuff, and we get paid less. Sometimes we can get paid less than we would when we're having a job. And I think there's a few different types of clients that come to us for help, and that's definitely one persona. There's we've been working our stuff for a while, and we're kind of stuck at this moment in time. And I really want to enjoy this, and I want to get paid for all the effort and risk that we're taking on. And it's definitely possible. And with a bit of tweaking to the business is absolutely possible, but it's definitely, if any of your audience feel that way, that we've been pushing up against that brick wall for a while and we can't break through, you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. Growing a business can be hard.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people, they just talk about, right now, of course, you look at all the successful people, and then you're stuck in, or as you say, maybe you have plateaued or just taking that initial jump. That's something for me also quitting a job. It takes I think courage, because of course, and most of our agency owners that that are listening to us, they're also, of course, they've been there and done that, and then now they're starting to just making taking that plunge or taking that first step. That's one thing. So what would you say about that person? They know they can do it, right? There's no right or wrong way, or no right time to start. So what would be the first thing? What would you say to them that this is time to start?
Yeah, I think often there's a bit of a sliding doors at the moment. Most of our clients get somewhere because they've said yes more than they've said no to stuff. You know, they don't necessarily know what they're saying yes to is the right thing, but they grasp opportunities, you know, and at some point this opportunity presents itself and it feels risky, but it feels exciting. And, you know, we've got half a way up that first step. When I first started my agency, I was working in another agency and this opportunity presented itself. We were working on a project and our opportunity cost was really expensive. It was like at the time, £1,000 a day is what we were being billed out at. But we weren't getting paid that. We were getting paid £200 a day. So we were like, this project's going to cost you £500,000 to complete, right? That's how you're accounting for it, 500 grand. You're going to pay us 50,000. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we set up a business and you pay us 70,000 and we'll fix price it for you. You get it done cheaper. We get a leg up that first ladder.
Yeah.
And they said yes. And that was the opportunity. That was the sliding doors moment. So I think first and foremost, look out for those opportunities. Absolutely. You know, the people who grow businesses, that entrepreneurial mindset are people who say yes more than no. And look for the opportunity. Definitely. I haven't met many business owners who have taken that plunge without some sort of security, without, you know, I've never met an agency owner who mortgaged their house to start a business, but didn't have an idea or a client or a service or anything like that. You know, there was it was a risk, but it was an educated guess. I would think.
So that's, I think, main thing here is, saying yes, knowing basically, have a safety net. It's not just basically do or die and usually we see that, we have, of course, a lot of young leaders in this circuit, in digital marketing agency world, but, mostly, people do start 30, 35 is when we have people, coming into more entrepreneurship. And at that point, they are mostly, I think, I'm not making decisions like I was making when I was 19 or even 20, but saying yes. On the other side, to just continue from that. So loving your job, you can only do that if you're doing something that and also, having a safety net when you're doing a digital marketing agency, of also that having some experience in that. So what is your take on niches, right? So basically, if someone's coming in, so you said you've worked in digital marketing agencies, and if you've been in that role for some time, so I'm not sure if the niches thing became a thing now, or is that always been a thing? And if someone's working in their niche, how to pick the niche in the first place.
Niches all the way, 100%. If we start an engagement with a client, positioning, everything stems from positioning. All right. There's most agencies out there right now do lots of stuff for a broad audience, and they say, and they're rubbish at marketing because they don't know where to do their marketing. Some agencies are B2B centric, SME centric. Well, I'm in B2B. You're in B2B, right? Yep. I don't read the same blogs that you read. We don't go to the same conferences. We don't, read the same white papers. Although we're in B2B, the space that we're in can be very, very different. It's too broad, this B2B thing. Accountants are B2B. IFAs can be B2B. Positioning is absolutely centric to kind of any kind of growth that happens as a consequence. And we look out into the market and we see the unicorns, we see the 200 people agency that don't have a niche, right?
Yeah.
Yes, those were the guys that were successful. But for every one of those, there's 8,000 others that are small, that are struggling, that aren't doing it, that aren't having that growth. And what's different about those guys, the guys that did make it, it's a lot of luck, right? They were in the bar at 12 o'clock at night having a beer with the CMO from Adidas. They managed to bump into that guy, or they recruited this one guy who turned out to be an awesome account director and didn't lose the client, and they didn't lose the account manager who took 3 clients with them, and that consequence of events, makes them this unicorn. If you want to grow your agency and you want to put your growth on a spreadsheet and predict revenue looking forward, write a budget that means something that isn't out of date tomorrow, that you can write a marketing plan for, that enables you to charge more than your competitors, and get more leads and win more of them, that's all about being niche, being that domain expert within the niche that you're serving. Yeah, and if you can become the agency for dentists, the agency for car dealers, everything else becomes clear. Who you recruit, what your systems and processes are, what your marketing is, where to do your marketing, how much to spend on your marketing. It all becomes clear and it all becomes broad actually behind that point. And you forget about the FOMO of worrying about everybody else, but we can help you, and not just we, any advisory business or can help you in one of two ways. We can put a focus on a niche and help you to grow within that niche, and that's predictable. Or we don't, and we can give you some advice, but it's a lot down to luck. If you're broad services, broad audience, there's too much luck involved for our advice to be really worthwhile.
Yeah, so two things that I got from here is that they're both, I think, music to digital marketing agency owners, is that grow your agency first of all, and the second is have predictive that growth that you're going to do it. That's just win-win. And so how does grow your digital agency come in? What is your mantra? What's your weapon of choice? When you're helping these digital marketing agencies. What's your process? How can you help digital marketing agencies to break that barrier, or to go to the next level, or maybe people like to start?
Good question. I'll be brief because I want to be helpful rather than salesy.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to our weapon of choice is the annoying it depends answer, because growth for different agencies can mean different things. Growth for one agency can be revenue, another agency's profit, another agency is a new service, another agency is moving into a new market, another agency might be time. I want more time back. That's growth for me, is getting more time back, which can mean reduction and contraction, right? So growth is dependent, and we help with all of that. A weapon of choice, therefore, the best way of thinking about it is an incubator without the funding. It's a collection of services delivered directly to you and in collaboration with other agency owners. So there's peer-to-peer masterminds, there's masterclasses, talks from agency experts, there's roundtables, there's regular coaching calls. We have tools and resources and IP and a program of content that we work through. So best metaphor, I think, is an incubator for agencies without the bank.
Okay. Yeah. So I think as far as you're saying, it's masterminding is where you say you bring the same-minded people in kind of different area of their journey, or different level of the journey, so they can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. One of the members at the mastermind might have already fixed the problem 5 years ago that someone's trying to solve right now. So it just bringing people together, and then let magic happen. That's grow your digital grow your digital agency's focus.
That's part of this incubator is the mastermind, is that peer-to-peer element, peer-to-peer accountability, facilitated sessions, and like you say, other people in the room have solved the thing before, and actually more often than not we've solved it before, but by giving the advice to somebody else across the other side of the table, we remember that we've solved it before, and we're automatically holding a mirror up to ourselves. So there's a bit of group therapy in there as well, and talking helps.
That's good. All right, so I'm going to move really quickly onto the site. I was going over your Facebook page, and you were doing these weekly book reviews. So what got that started? What could some of our listeners could get out of it? And what's your top 3 books that you would recommend right now?
Yeah. So I'm presuming, I'm going to make an assumption and a presumption here that the people that are listening to this podcast are agency leaders, and that they're looking to make a positive change. That they're looking to take something forward, break a cycle, get some kind of growth, be it revenue growth or personal growth or team growth or new service growth. Where I would start is my business partner's book, Grow Your Digital Agency. Robert Craven's book. Super simple, super short. Read through it in about an hour and a half. Work through it as a workbook. Use that as your strategic mantra. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Second book, The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. if ever there was a book which wraps up what running a business, small or large, should be about and how to do it and how to make it practical, it's in there. Read it every 6 months and implement some of the tools in there. It's almost like somebody's gone and absorbed all of the knowledge. It's like ChatGPT's absorbed all the knowledge on all the books in all the world and said, here we go, this is what we need to read. Follow those two: Grow Your Digital Agency and The Advantage, and potentially a third one, which is I think it's called The Business of Expertise by David C. Baker, which is all around positioning and being an expert in your field. But anything by David C. Baker, I'm a huge fan of.
So you're one other thing that you were just also talking about, of course, that your partner's book. What was the name again? Can we put, and
same as our company name. So it's Grow Your Digital Agency. It's on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
Type for that.
We'll share with our audience the link for that too. So and as far as Grow Your Digital Marketing Agency is also concerned, going back, you're always talking about the digital marketing agency owners. So who's your ideal owner? Like, who's your ideal candidate, that someone who should be joining your coaching program? Is something you go for, like big ticket items, or people who are, because some people, there's this also thing that a lot of people irk when they hear this word plateau. Some have been there for like 3-4 years. They're stuck there and they want to go to the next level. Some people just started and had no idea what they were getting into. So who is your best who is in student that you would say or your avatar for your student?
So it's a really relevant question, because we've just done the analysis on that this week. What we've done the analysis on actually is the behaviors of the type of people that we work with, and what's going on in their world, and why they're reaching out and how we can help them. Agency owner number one is, as you've just described, we're stuck, we've plateaued, and we've got to the point where we've been stuck or we've been plateaued for too long, and we can't figure it out, and the frustration's growing, and we're saying we need somebody else to help us. And often, depending on the business model of the business, if it's a web design and build agency, they've been stuck there for a long time. There's certain sectors, where plateau can happen harsher than in other areas. They're like, we need some external help, and we can help them. Behavior number two, agency owner number two, has been through that cycle before. They're like, do you know what? We were stuck 5 years ago, and we're okay now, but I can see in 3 or 4 months' time that we might get stuck again, because, I don't know, profit shrinking.
Yeah.
One of our big clients is using some language which is worrying us. There's a macro economy thing going on. I can see us getting stuck again. And the thing that helped me before was getting some external help. So I'm gonna shortcut that plateau this time and get through it, because I can see it coming this time. That's number two. Number three is, hey, things are going great. Things are going really well. How do we lock this in? We've stumbled across a business model. Stumbled, that sounds quite patronizing. We've got to a point where, things are really working. Profit's good, the team's good. I feel like I'm in a great place. I'm a little bit worried about upsetting the apple cart. Like, what can we put in place to enable this to continue going forward? So, frustrated, plateauing agency owner with foresight because they've been stuck before, or things are going great. Let's secure this going forward.
Yeah, I love the third part. The kind that you just defined is someone that things are going really good. That's exactly when you need to start doing all the homework. That's when you have more bandwidth to experiment and and see any gaps. Because the mindset that we also have at RepStack is, if something's really good, we just don't say. We just want to make sure that we challenge ourselves, and that is a time where everything's working. We say, okay, how we can fill each gap that we see, because everybody needs improvement, and that is the best time. That is where you can kind of slip a little bit and still not get too much impact. So even when you're in position of growth, that's what you want to say, that how can you make sure that this arrow keeps going up, right? Because
we miss it. It can be a lonely place running a business.
Yeah.
Some of us are fortunate. We have business partners, and that's great. We have a thought partner, but we don't have We miss that accountability, you know. And when things are going great, that's when we can get a little bit. The word that comes to mind is lazy. I don't mean lazy. Perhaps complacent. Complacent, yeah. And that extra person coming in can help that growth to continue.
Yeah, it is. You know, so for us at RepStack, we're actually lucky. We're three brothers and we're three owners. You know, so it's three partners. It's just like it's just an amazing journey. So I do, you know, I can relate on that point that you know, it's lonely, but because for us actually RepStack brought us together more. So you know, we're three. We have a little bit of kind of our very very mini mastermind all the time. We have this WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
We just keep changing it, you know, and everybody has their own perspective. Like for you know, sales, marketing, Yavar has, you know, he has the international experience. So that's but yeah, I can see for digital marketing owners just being stuck in one point and then just having to themselves, you know, they need someone for validation, even if you're doing something right. Yeah, okay. Someone says, "Oh, yeah, do this." You're like, "Oh, I'm already doing it." Even then, it's such a, you know,
it's so powerful that thought partnership. I had a business partner when I ran my agency, and I became frustrated, and I bought him out of the business, and it was the worst thing I ever did. You know, I had ego at the time. I wanted to do it on my own. You know, I wanted to carve this path on my own, and some deep underlying psychological issues, I think, at the time, but it was driven by ego. And I really missed it up until when my business got bought a couple of years ago. And I've now got a business partner again. You know, I'm like, I've so missed this. You know, walking into a room, being opposite from a thinking perspective to somebody else, and being able to positively challenge each other. You know, it doesn't feel emotional, our challenge or conflict. We have different ideas, different ways that we would solve problems, and we debate. And at the end of it, we come up with a good solution, and then we walk out the room in a better place than we were than when we walked in. And it's if you have that, you know, hold on to it. If you don't have it, find somebody, get a coach, get a buddy. It doesn't have to be an external consultant. Find somebody else running a business like yours, meet with them once a week, get into that room and have provoking, challenging conversations so that you can, you know, throw your ideas out there and have them challenged or ratified or questioned or just approved.
Right. And then that is something Grow Your Digital Agency does basically for us, you know, for owners who are basically struggling to get some accountability partners, or they need some more direction that they can have, you know, weekly or I don't know what the cadence might be, or daily, or, you know, twice a week or monthly calls that they just check in and just bounce the ideas, you know, just
absolutely. And you know, and I mean this genuinely. I really believe in it. I really see the magic that happens as a consequence of that. You know, one of the first things that we do when we run a mastermind, first thing we do on session number 1, when people haven't met each other, is we put them into pairs and we get them to report how good their finances are, how good their marketing is, how good their operations is, how good their teams are. You know, and it's a really scary thing, right? I've never met this person. I've got to show all this vulnerability.
Yeah.
But they've got no choice. But once they've done it, you know, the gloves are off. There's nothing else to hide. They've built trust with the person that they're sat next to. They've got some advice from them, and then they've realized that the person that they're sat with is vulnerable too, and they've got challenges in their business. And you realize it's not just you. You know, it's magic. It's magic to be a part of, and a magic to watch as well.
Yeah. So I love the way you just started off with, you know, finance. You know, that's the first thing, financial accountability, because opening that up, that kind of just, that's the, you know, the last peel of the onion or something. And you can just do it right out of the gate. It just, you know, everybody of us is having this shield, right? But I'm thinking once you take those off, it's so much more relaxed. It's more open. Everybody's there to help, and you can gain so much from other people. And you don't have to do it all alone. And there's like most tools and you know, agencies and coaches.
Everyone's got challenges. Every single agency we work with has, pardon my French, you know, shit going on. And if there's 10 things that we help our clients with, picking a number, if there's 10 things, nobody's doing all 10. All right. The 300-person agency, it's got an awesome brand, awesome marketing machine, awesome leadership team, awesome finances. But they're mind blown by the fact that our client services team can have client strategic account development plans for our clients that our 10-person agency is doing really, really well, So there's always something to learn or see differently and borrow from others. And everybody's always got a little bit of a challenge. Nobody's running. But one of our clients in Germany, who is running the perfect business, and they were before we helped them. Nobody else is running the perfect agency. Everybody's got some stuff going on.
Okay, so just going back to your agency, what is your agency's model? So I know you discussed mastermind, then you have some sessions, and then I think some one-on-one. So as far as your model goes, do you have? I know it's you and your partner. Do you have a broader team also? How does your team look like? And how do it's just you and your partner, or you have other coaches on your team? Or how does the whole system work?
Yeah, so there's 8 or 9 consultants and coaches, and then we have a back office team, operations manager, finance manager, head of marketing, and our coaches and consultants are either broad or narrow. So I'm what I call a broad coach. I help our clients with lots of different stuff. We solve the big issues. And that works from strategy to finance to positioning to marketing to people. We make those big steps forward, and there's 4 or 5 of us who do a similar thing. And then we have narrow consultants. We have an FD, finance coach. We have a sales coach, a guy called Gary, who's the best sales guy in the world. He's 180 million pounds worth of agency fee. He's delivered himself. He's just awesome. Client services coach, operation systems and processes coach. So we have the general kind of non-exec director type roles, and then people come in with an arrow point to solve a specific problem.
Yeah, so the way we're talking, I could see like a laser point. So you can have, you need a general, of course, perspective also. But what I got was like get specialists, and that's what you have with the team, like because generally, of course, person could be really, really good at 6 things out of 10, or maybe if you're super, 8 out of 10. But you're not going to be good at 10 out of 10. So for me, what I've learned is, you're doing finance. Get a finance guy, let the specialist do the special, what they're good at, and also learn and manage what you should know what you're good at. And once you identify that, and I'm not going to try to make a sales call. I know I cannot pick up the phone and do anything. Then don't do it. Gets or maybe you can always get coaching. But identify your your best 6 things that you can do, and don't worry about everything.
100%. I think it's if you can build. Speaking to agency owners, you can build a team around you where you're the weakest person in the room. You're in a great place.
Yeah,
be the dumbest, weakest, least intelligent, least skilled person in the room. Don't fear that. Be really, really comfortable. One of the best agencies we work with, 160-person agency in the UK. CEOs just sold. I walk into just sold for about 30 million quid. Used to walk into board meetings with them, and FD, ops director, tech director, sales director, just incredible, just exuding gravitas and class. And the CEO would sit with his trainers on and his feet on the table, just absorbing what was going on around him, and he realized that the growth of his agency was largely now down to them and not down to him, which it was in the early days. And he was totally comfortable there, and it's worked.
No, I love that approach, because that's how when you were saying, I thought you were defining me, because that's exactly how I do it. I've surrounded our team, we're lucky enough, with leaders, the mindset, and anytime I go in there, I know I am at the bottom of the barrel. So there's expectations. There are no expectations from me. So I am like right up the gate. I'm like, okay, do it, right? Because it is what the people that you surround with. Okay. And the other thing that I had, actually the last one on my mind, was you also brought up a little bit that your coaches are also, some are on different places, and you have this international masterminds that you do. So I've been to a couple, in the United States. Most of us that say international, most we could go to is Canada, or if we get really excited, we might go to Mexico, right? Caribbean islands. So when you say international, you have 20 20 different countries that you do international masterminds. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we were. I guess this has come from the fact we're an agency growth partner for Google. So we design and run agency growth programs for Google Premier Partners, and by its very nature, that's been an international contract. So Google pay us, put a program together, take agency leaders through a growth program. Agencies grow, Google get more advertising revenue. It's kind of a win-win-win. So by the nature of that, from day one, we've been international. We've had international exposure through the programs we've been running, which from the States down to South Africa, UK, and all the way through Europe, right across to, well, we've had clients in Singapore, but I think the furthest east we go at the moment is Kazakhstan. So everywhere from Kazakhstan to Chicago is the breadth, and then down to Cape Town in South Africa. People engaging in either face-to-face masterminds, or we're running an online mastermind as well.
Okay, so which countries do you have the face-to-face masterminds in? Is it just UK right now?
No, so we have at the moment UK. We have Eastern Europe, which kind of travels a bit, and we're just launching one in Benelux, Amsterdam type area, and then after that, we'll be launching East Coast US as well.
Oh, that will be exciting. We'll definitely want to be part of it if you're going to come to the new world, America. I'm just saying, because I don't know for what reason, but I do see, or maybe it's because we are also US based. We do have a lot of interaction with only digital marketing agencies and United States and Canada, not by design, because we want to reach out in UK also. So is it you think there is a bigger presence of digital marketing agencies in the United States for a certain reason, or is just my perception? As far as if you say UK, because I would think there should be more agencies from UK too, but or it's just my limited experience.
Yeah, it's very geographically market centric. Looking at the data, there are 25,000 agencies in the UK that present a digital service. Right, 25,000 of them serving the UK, and a proportion of them serving other regions too. Germany's next biggest, Poland's next after that. So largely due to economy, skills, whether there was a creative sector kind of in that region before that too. So yeah, definitely there are certain regions where there's more kind of agency activity than in other places.
Okay. Well,
the promised land is definitely the States. There's a lot of agencies from Europe kind of try and tackle East Coast US.
Yeah, East Coast is a big market. We have for some reason also within US have focused more on South in Florida.
Yeah.
So it is, of course, New York is it's a beast. It is the Big Apple, but for some reason our relationship with digital marketing agencies has been more on the South, mainly in Florida. A lot of our clients are in Florida. So I think Florida is kind of up and coming, also from new these all these entrepreneurs showing up and all these creative agencies coming up. But yeah, of course, anywhere in East Coast, you come, we'll definitely try to get there and get a seat. So, and anybody also, coming back to our viewers, if you need a coach, and you need someone, accountability partner, we need a specialist. Basically, I like, it seems like someone basically all in black clad. They're coming in, the finance guy and whatnot. So, grow your digital agency is a place to go. Anything else you want to add before we wrap off, Janusz?
No, I've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for having me on. I think my passing comment will be, we're seeing a lot of agencies at the moment kind of fearing a bit of kind of the broader economy. You know, what's happening. There was a lot of fear before Christmas, in particular, around it. Are we moving into a recession? What happens after Christmas? That hasn't been realised. I think it was kind of business as usual a little bit in most sectors in kind of January and February. But if the talking point 18 months ago was people and recruitment, and we need people, the talking point at the moment is definitely the economy and the recession and what do we do? What's coming forward? Our clients are kind of delaying projects and delaying budgets. Then I think my final message would be you're not alone. It's a very topical conversation at the moment, and be delighted to help if anybody has any questions around that. Definitely.
And what's the best way to get access to you? Is that's the website we have. How do I say it? Gaida.co?
Yes, Gaida. I don't know if does the chat window work if I put my email address in? It's you email me at Janusz@Gaida.co.
Yeah, we have it there. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for your time. I think that's the most valuable thing that you have, that everybody I think has. And hopefully we'll have you back on our podcast in near future.
I'd be delighted. Thank you. Thanks for having me.